Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers, welcome to our daily show, Discovering Islam. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. All praise and thanks are due to Allah, and peace and blessings be upon His Messenger. Dear brothers and sisters, although the Quran is primarily a book of guidance, it would be more appropriate to describe it as a guidebook for human life. And as described by one of the sisters, it's a book for our daily life. A book that guides man towards the right path in the context on the all-embracing struggle between good and evil. For more about this struggle, tonight we are pleased to meet our sister Shariffa Carlo from United States, an instructor at the College of Technology in Kuwait and a teacher at the TIES Center in Kuwait. Welcome, sister, here.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us in this show, and we hope that we enjoy the journey with you.
I hope so too.
Inshallah. May you introduce yourself to our viewers?
Well, basically, I'm Shariffa Carlo, and I've been here in Kuwait for about 13 years, and I basically am a convert to Islam, or a revert, as many of us say.
Yes, mashallah. When was your first encounter with Islam? Well, zero knowledge before this encounter.
Okay, well, basically that was when I was a teenager. I was actually recruited by a group of Christians and Jews to destroy Islam. So it was the first knowledge of really what is Islam.
Subhanallah. Subhanallah.
Yeah.
And how you felt about this encounter? You were recruited to destroy this enemy.
Yes.
Which was represented to you, Islam, as an enemy.
Well, yeah, actually I was very extremely active in women's rights. And I was a very strong Christian at the time. And I thought that the poor women of Islam, covered from head to toe in black, and their husbands beat them daily, and they have a horrible, oppressed existence. And I was going to take them from the darkness to the light of the 20th century. But subhanAllah, what I found out was that I was in the darkness, and I needed to see the light of Islam.
Subhanallah. So you had a dark image about Islam
Very.
To start with.
Yes.
Subhanallah. And what happened next that attracted you to Islam, that changed this dark image?
Well, I took off when they invited me to the group. I took off to the United States. I was in Germany at the time. My father was in the military. And I started to study Quran and Hadith. And I was studying it in order to play with it, to know how to take things from the Quran or take things from the Hadith and change it to try to take the women out of Islam and away from it and make them more modern and, bring them to women's rights and so forth. But I had to read Quran and I had to read Hadith.
SubhanAllah.
And SubhanAllah, exactly. My heart was attracted to the Quran. I fell in love with the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As I read the words of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, I couldn't deny them. I wanted to, but I couldn't. I couldn't stop myself from saying, there's truth here, and I have to pursue this.
SubhanAllah. How long did this took you to move from complete hate to falling in love?
3 years.
SubhanAllah. Continuous study.
Continuous study. And I went back and I studied Christianity. I took a class with a Harvard University professor, and he was a specialist and a scholar in Christianity. And he showed us the changes in the Bible, the changes throughout time, and how Jesus went from prophet to son of God to God. And the more I tried to be stronger in my religion, the more I got pushed away from it and pushed towards Islam, because it's the truth and you can't deny it. If you really have an open heart and you look at Islam with a logical, rational mind, you can't deny it.
Subhanallah. And what happened next that make you make this decision to join as a Muslim?
Well, like I said, it was a process. I studied Islam with the original intention of trying to destroy it. Then I was reading Quran and reading Hadith in order to really and fully understand it, and kind of to find something in Islam that I didn't like, that I could say, no, this is not true, no, this is not right. But subhanAllah, the more I studied it, the more I loved it. And throughout the process, even I studied Hinduism, I studied Buddhism, I studied every religion you can possibly imagine. In America, they used to have these guys in the airport, and they would be, Hare Krishna, and they would give you books. I took their books, I read them, I studied them. I went back to the Old Testament, to the Greek, the Hebrew, the Aramaic, and intense research trying to prove to myself, no, Christianity is correct, Islam is wrong. But at the end, it was pretty much, this is the truth. You can't deny what's in front of you, can't deny the truth. And alhamdulillah, Allah guided me to Islam.
Alhamdulillah. When exactly did you decide to become a Muslimah?
It was 3 years after I had started looking into it, and I received a phone call from a student at the university where I was studying. And he's like, there are people here who want to talk to people about Islam, and you've asked me questions in the past. Would you like to come? And I said, okay. I agreed to meet with them. I went there. I sat down with the scholar who was talking to people, and we stayed from after Salat al-Isha until Salat al-Fajr.
MashaAllah.
Me arguing, no this, and he would show me evidences, no, this is correct. And I would argue even things that I knew were a lie. I would use it as an argument because I really didn't want to become a Muslim.
Seeking information.
Seeking information. I had so much prejudice against Islam and the idea of becoming a Muslim. I remember once there was a girl who knew me, and she was like, you're going to become Muslim one day. I'm like, never. You're never going to see me walking around wearing bed sheets. And subhanAllah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened my heart till I knew this is it. This is the truth. You can't deny it.
Subhanallah. Dear viewers, we will continue discussing this struggle of conquering oneself feelings against Islam and moving towards the complete contrary to take Islam as a way of life. After the break with our sister Shariffa Carlo, please stay tuned. Dear viewers, welcome back. We are still joining our sister Shariffa Carlo with her journey towards Islam and how could she fight with her inner feelings against Islam. May you tell us what was the point that you decided, that's it, this is the point where I change my ideas about Islam?
Well, it was the night that I was arguing with the sheikh, and he was talking to me about Islam, and I was going back and forth. At the end of the night, it was Fajr time. He looked at me and he said, I invite you to become a Muslim. And I looked around me, and half of the people in the room were looking at me, and their eyes were saying, take the shaitana and just throw her out the window. The other half was asleep. And I looked at them and I said, why am I fighting this? Why am I deciding that this is wrong? I know this is the truth. And it was at that moment I said, that's it. I have to become a Muslim because I can't keep denying the truth. So alhamdulillah, at that moment when he invited me, I said, yes, I want to be a Muslim. Alhamdulillah.
And what Islamic value or behavior that is the nearest to your heart?
Truth. Truth. I love the fact that in Islam, the truth is so valued. That, true, not every Muslim is honest, but in Islam, honesty is something that we have to be, something that we have to do. It's supposed to be 100% part of our character. And truth has always been something that appealed to me.
This is maybe you are connecting to your previous experience seeking knowledge about
Yes.
different religions.
Yeah, but also honesty between people. In Islam, we're supposed to be honest with each other. We're supposed to be honest with everyone. We're not
Correct.
supposed to lie and hide behind lies.
Yes.
And this is one of the beautiful things about Islam, is that this is such an important value in Islam, that even to the point that if a person is always telling lies, they're considered a hypocrite.
True.
So I love this part of al-Islam. And subhanallah. And I also love the logic of Islam.
Subhanallah. Can you describe your feelings right after taking your shahada?
This was amazing. The moment the sheikh told me, lift your finger and say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. When I did that, I said, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah. When I said the word Allah, I felt as if there had been a huge stone or something on my chest and it had been ripped off. And I went literally as if it was the first time in my life that I took a breath. SubhanAllah, years later when I was looking through the Quran and reading and so forth, I noticed a verse in the Quran that talked about the non-Muslims, and it said that their chests are constricted like the one going up in a mountain. I swear this is what it felt like. When I saw that, I started to cry, because I was like, this is what happened to me. This is why I started to breathe so deeply. Why it was like,
Relief.
Suddenly I was breathing.
Relief.
Subhanallah.
Subhanallah.
A complete change.
Subhanallah.
Subhanallah.
Allah Akbar. A very emotional moment.
Wallah. Subhanallah. Subhanallah.
Yeah, now you are saying this with
Yes.
breath. MashaAllah. And
Alhamdulillah.
how soon you informed your family, and what was their reaction?
Well, you have to keep in mind, I was a spoiled brat. My father was a commander in the American Army. He had money, he had position, he had title, he had respect, and anything I wanted, he used to give me. So when I became a Muslim, I called him. I was so excited. It's like, Dad, I became a Muslim. And he's like, you what? Are you crazy? Did you lose your mind? Are you brainwashed? He basically disowned me. And not because he's a bad person. I know the reason he did this was he knew my personality. He knew that I was spoiled. And he felt that if he cut off all the money, cut off everything.
Correcting you.
Yes, that this would make me run back. But wallah, not from myself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made me strong. And Allah made me live through that. But now, alhamdulillah, my father and I are very close.
Subhanallah.
So alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. This is a great ni'mah.
Eh, wallah, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. And what was the reactions of other Muslims around you?
Well, believe it or not, I knew some of the students on campus. I knew the man that had called me and contacted me, but I wasn't really friends with a lot of Muslims. So the first time I went to the mosque, I felt like I had just, the way that they treated me, it's like I'd walked into a family that was my family and I never knew about them before.
Alhamdulillah.
I was embraced by everyone. Everybody was so kind to me. Even, subhanAllah, because my father had cut me off, basically I was thrown out of the university.
Oh.
I had no money, I had no job, and I sold my car to try to live. But subhanAllah, apparently, I never told anyone, but apparently it got back to the Muslims that I was in trouble. So I would go downstairs and I would open my mailbox and there'd be envelopes of money inside.
MashaAllah.
And I know that the Muslims were trying to help me. So subhanAllah, it's, as I said, I felt like I had a family that I didn't know about before. And I had been suddenly accepted into this beautiful, huge family from every country, from every color, from every nationality, everything. It was just, I felt at home.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah.
When you say Muslims, you mean people from all around the world, not
Yes.
just a specific ethnicity or nationality or anyone.
Definitely. In the mosque that I was in, there were people from Morocco, there were people from Syria, from Egypt, from India, from Pakistan, from Sri Lanka, from Kuwait, from Saudi, from the Emirates, from all over the world.
MashaAllah.
There were American Muslims. There were every nationality, color that you can imagine was there. And they were all brothers and sisters. And the way that they treated each other and the way that they dealt with me was something entirely new to me.
MashaAllah. You had a great opportunity that you had a supportive community around you.
Yes,
which is
alhamdulillah.
not the case with some of our brothers and sisters that we are meeting in this show, because some of them had a very negative experience and even with other Muslims, they were not supporting them to learn or to join Islam.
SubhanAllah.
MashaAllah.
No, alhamdulillah, I was very lucky in this.
And what was the first worship that you practiced after joining Islam?
At that time, I remember that they told me that I should join them to make Fajr. So the first thing I did as a Muslim was I made Fajr with them.
MashaAllah.
I didn't know the words, but he just told me, just say Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah over and over again, and just follow what we do. So that was the very first thing that I did.
MashaAllah. MashaAllah. A very basic prayer you started with.
Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. What are your gains and losses by coming to Islam?
Well, I can't say that I lost anything because, okay, while my family was against me and I lost money and these type of things, they weren't important. What I gained was so much better. I gained an understanding of what really life is. I gained an understanding of the truth of what we're here on this earth for, that we're here just to worship Allah. And I gained a feeling of knowing that everything that I was doing was right, because I had done so much studying and so much learning about all the different religions, and even, about, I couldn't accept that there was no God. And I don't know, I gained Jannah, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. So your losses basically were material.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah. And how do you compare your life before and after Islam?
Well, the biggest difference is in me, the way that I view everything. Before Islam, any little problem was something horrible. I couldn't deal with it. I would get very upset. I would get very emotional, sometimes even overly dramatic over anything that happened. Now, subhanallah, I know that whatever happens to me is from Allah. I know that there's good in it. And this was something difficult for me because I'm a control freak. So admitting that I don't have control over everything is probably the most difficult thing I have within Islam. But when I finally sit and I think and say, okay, this is happening right now, this is my life, Allah sent this for a reason. So my perspective changed. I don't freak out over things when they happen. I like, alhamdulillah, Allah's going to take care of this. There's a good thing in it. Somewhere in this, there's good.
Subhanallah. So a strong lady is struggling to surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes.
MashaAllah. And what makes Islam special compared to other religions?
SubhanAllah, the fact that it's the truth and you can't deny it.
Subhanallah.
There's nothing else that makes sense in this life except Islam. Every philosophy you look at, every religion that you look at, every non-religion that you look at has flaws. But when you read the Quran, you can't argue with any part of it. Everything makes sense. Everything is logical. So this is, subhanAllah, the best thing.
Subhanallah. Dear viewers, we will continue our journey with Sister Shariffa Carlo after the break. Stay tuned with us.